Okay, overall, camp is in the books. It was a quality camp. It was a long camp, and really 3 full weeks of camp. Last few days we were able to give the time for the kids, the time and the opportunity for the young men to get used to practice. We're doing things just a little bit different this year as far as their weekly schedule. We're meeting in the mornings and practicing in the afternoon instead of coming in and meeting and practicing at the same time. So we should be used to it, should have an easy adjustment into game week as far as their preparation. Today will account as a Tuesday practice. As well, tomorrow will be a Tuesday practice for us, and then a normal Wednesday, and then an early morning practice on Thursday morning before we prepare to fly out to the Auburn game. So that's where we sit. But overall, a lot of competition on this team. I would sit back and say, as a result of this first game, there's going to be 15 to 20 brand new faces that have never taken a Division I snap, get snaps in this game, which is great for us. I think it shows we're moving in the right direction in a recruiting standpoint. We're getting youth on the field, and we have created competition at a number of different spots on the football team. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, where we sit, how we're going to execute, how good of a football team this is at this point. We'll find that out here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. It'll become very clear of what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and areas to improve. But I'm proud of the way the kids have worked, and we're excited to get this thing started against, obviously, a quality opponent. Auburn, tremendous environment, tremendous opportunity. Basically it'll be a day that the kids should never forget. If you can walk into this football game and not have a smile on your face, then really you're playing the wrong sport. Competitors are going to love the challenge that we have in front of us, without a doubt, and it'll be an exciting time for these kids to get in and play the national champions, and they still are the national champions until somebody takes that away from them. And so we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us. They're going to be a very gifted team. If I sit back and there's a lot of talk about how the number of new people that they have, which is true. They're going to be very gifted, very talented, very well-coached young men that are going to be on the field. You sit back and watch the tape of our first opponents for the last few years. If I'm going to sit down and break down the biggest difference is just watching the SEC tape, the speed, the size is very, very impressive. So, and I know that Auburn is going to look the part. I've talked to as many people as I possibly can to communicate with them and see exactly where Auburn sits, and they said they've recruited very, very well, and they expect them to be a very good team. So, yes, they have some new faces, but I'm sure they're quality pieces to the puzzle in the SEC as they move forward. The environment that we're walking into, it's going to be probably what I understand, it's one of the best in the country. And we're excited to walk into that environment. 90,000 people, I believe, is what they have there, and there's a lot of tradition. And so what you have to do in the first game is walk in and take care of the Aggies. It's not about anything else, and all of us walking in to the stadium together and putting our best performance in and seeing exactly where it sits. I expect this football team to execute. I expect it to handle the situations very, very well in an extremely adverse environment, and we will be in some of those adverse environments as the year goes on, so it'll be a great learning experience, and what we don't handle well, we'll learn to handle well, and what we do handle well, we'll continue to emphasize and practice and continue to focus on that.
The weather you've had here in the last week, 10 days, has been pretty good to prepare for this.
I agree. The question is the humidity. Last couple of days of humidity, when I've looked and what I've been told is it's been close. So, but I believe it can hop up to 75, 80% humidity or whatever it may be very quickly. So it's been hot here. We've put them in the hot environments. We put them on the turf. The kids have handled it well. How the kids handle themselves and hydrate themselves over the next week as we progress through game week here is very, very important. But I expect it to be hot. I expect it to be humid, and I would hope that the weather would not be a factor. We are going to play a number of young men in this game, and that is just factual. We will play a lot of players. We'll take a large group with us on the airplane because we have the opportunity to take a large group on the airplane with us, and where we sit we need to put a lot of young men on this football field to see how they react so we can prepare ourselves for the rest of the season and also give us the best opportunity to compete in this football game at a high level.
Have you had a chance to look at Barrett Trotter, their new quarterback, and what does he bring?
Yeah, we've looked at as many of the young men as we possibly can that they have, all the way from offensive linemen, and tried to find snaps that the kids have played in the past. But, the quarterback position for them is much like ours, I would say, regardless of who plays. And I would not be surprised to see a couple. The Trotter kid is, when he's come in, has he thrown a bunch of balls? No. Has he played a lot? No. Very athletic, obviously highly recruited, excited about his opportunity, I'm sure, to come in and lead the Auburn Tigers, which is probably something that where he grew up, he may have grown up wanting to do that his whole life. Who knows? So I'm sure he'll be excited about that opportunity. But he's a quality quarterback, a little different than obviously what Cam Newton was as far as his dynamics with his feet, from what you can see on film. But who knows? Maybe the offense won't change at all, and they might want to stay with the sheer athleticism. So you can kind of get in a real chess match in your own mind for those first games. You can go back and say, well, they'll be more like they were 2 years ago. They'll be more like they were last year. We've got good coaches. Auburn has good coaches, and the bottom line is they're going to put their best 11 young men out there on the field, and then they're going to build a scheme that's best for them, to what they believe is best for them at this point, to be able to compete at a high level. So there will be some surprises in game one, which there always is, and how we adjust and how the young men handle it is key.
You build a defensive scheme that you think is best for your program this time. Why does it? Is it because the personnel at this kind of a 3-4 thing fits?
It does, yeah. I think our ability to be able to get Maurice Alexander, Tavares McMillan, Bojay, Quinn Garner, Levi, to get those young men out onto the field at the same time along with Bobby, you want to build different packages. Now, when we say we're completely an odd front, not so fast. You're going to see us predominantly in an odd front in certain packages, and then you're going to see us predominantly in an even front in different packages. And when I say that, that's really a credit to the kids, because they've been able to absorb a lot of this new defense as we went through spring, and they've been able to add some different flavor to it as we've gone through camp. Now, how we handle it in game time situations, how good these football players are in game time situations, and what the extent that we can move the calls forward really depends on how we all handle on game day, from coaches to players. And so I believe we're in good shape to present a fairly large package of defense to our opponents, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll be odd, we'll be even, with the attempt to put the best 11 kids on the field every snap.
Have you kept in touch with Jay at all, Jay Boulware?
I've talked to Jay very, very little since he's left, but I've tracked him. I know where he is. He's obviously had a great year that he was able to be part of last year, and so he's a good man, good family, and look forward to seeing him.
How does Michael Dyer compare to some of the running backs that you faced in the past? And, how does he compare with your own running back this year, and what do you have to do to be successful against him?
Well, the biggest thing is first guy in has a real hard time tackling Michael. He's very elusive with power when he wants power and when he needs power. It's very obvious that the runs that he makes, he has not the tallest guy in the world, which he uses to his advantage. So strong, powerful back, you got to gang tackle him. He's got great speed. He's got tremendous ability to get to the edge of the defense and hurt you. Watching SEC tape, which again shows you exactly how fast he is. So if anybody doesn't think he's fast, just go ahead and flip on the tape real quick, and you'll understand how fast a young man he is. So he's a well-rounded back. He does it all, and he's going to be a big part of their offense.
What are your thoughts on Quindarius Carr and Emory Blake and Trevon Reed, those three receivers they bring?
Well, again, they're going to be tall. They're going to be fast. They're all going to be able to be playmakers. I'm absolutely sure of it. And they lost some receivers from a year ago, but the young men that they have in there are going to be able to run very well. They're going to look the part. They're going to they'll run tremendous routes, I'm sure. So again, for us, it's not so much of who's who, especially in game one. It's our guys understanding that whether it's 89 or 87 or 83, there's number 2, I'm lining up there, and this is what my job description is, and so on and so forth throughout the whole defense. You're not going to look at Auburn University football program right now and say, yep, there's a weak link, let's go take advantage of it. It's not going to happen. So what we have to be able to do is, again, do everything we can to execute, make plays when the opportunity presents itself, and execute on third down is going to be gigantic for us as a football team. Our ability to get stops on third down and our ability to be able to convert on third down is going to be a tremendous difference in a game like this, because we have to be able to stay on the field and we have to be able to get off the field. And that sounds very, simple and easy and clean, but in a game like this, if you can't do that, we will have no opportunity to win, and it's going to be highly, highly emphasized for us as we go through the week. We have to convert when we get to those critical situations. I say it all the time on defense, but I'll say it on offense this week. Third down's the only down. Everything else, you're working yourself to get there. Third down's the only down. You got to win it to have a chance in a big game like this.
From the start of fall camp till this point, where have you made the most progress on defense?
I'd like to say in the front 7, but that's against ourselves. So we'll see. We'll see how physical we can be. We'll see how tough we are. We're going to line up against some tough guys in about 5 days. So we'll see. We'll see how tough we are and exactly where we sit. But our depth is improved from what it was a year ago. And physically we looked improved, but I don't believe any of that stuff until I see the numbers against an opponent. And on the defensive side of the ball, it's all people flapping their lips until they make plays. So we'll see what happens.
You lost some athletes in the secondary, some good athletes.
Yes.
So how do you feel now with everybody, the way it lines up?
With our secondary, I feel good. I wish Cameron was with us. Cam has the elbow; he won't be with us, and that's a big blow. And it's too bad for him too, because it's not home, but it's somewhat close to home for an opportunity for him to go play. But Jumani has come in and done a nice job. Terrence has come in and done a nice job. Terrell has come in and done a nice job. Now, the idea for them is this week is to fine-tune and understand where they fit, not play with so much of a loose mentality, I guess, if you will. Understand where you fit in the scheme. A lot of times when you're a tremendous player in high school, sometimes when you're a tremendous player in junior college, you can walk in and you can get away with so much because the opponent that you're playing against is just can't handle you athletically. He's just so much so you're so far superior that you can take chances, that you can actually make mistakes with your techniques. Well, that's no longer the case, and the ability for those young men to completely understand that and not have to learn the hard way, which when I say the hard way, I mean getting beat in the back end in the game for a big score and really wrapping their arms around the fact that this is what I have to do on game day or it's going to cost my team very, very harshly. So that's the step for them. But I feel better in the back end. We still got work to do just like we do everywhere else. But I love the way that Nevin Lawson is a leader as a true sophomore. Fantastic young man, and he leads that group. And getting Walter back hopefully will help us take a step in the right direction.
Having Nevin Tavares playing Rashard all from the same part of the country, how has that impacted the defense? How did you get all those guys out of Miami?
Well, I think it's Corey did a great job here. Javon's jumped in there. TJ Woods has been involved in the recruiting process in Miami. I'm fortunate to have a couple coaches that are there that played for me in years past. So I think the biggest thing is, like anything else, we'll get more as these kids continually have success. Those young men that have been in our program going on 2 years now have had success on the field. They've had success academically, and they've had success socially. So if you're a high school coach, you're going to look at Utah State and Florida, and you're going to say, yep, that's a real opportunity because there's proof that these young men can succeed. So, and it's great for them to be able to get back close to home, and obviously the SEC is very important in the state of Florida where these young men grow up, and so for them to be able to know that they have the opportunity to compete against an SEC opponent like we do this week is big for them. So it's somewhere we need to keep recruiting, and we look forward to that opportunity and these tremendous young men that have been here with us, and they sure like Logan and Cache Valley, I'll tell you that much.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Okay, thanks guys.
I think camp went well. I think we got a lot a lot done. We got a lot of, answers that we needed to answer. I think the D linemen stepped up for the most part during camp. I'm just excited for Auburn. I'm excited to get my final year started, and I just can't wait to play.
How important is it for you guys to control the line of scrimmage, especially in such a hostile environment and such a big profile conference like the SEC?
It's very important. Without the D lineman or the O lineman, nothing can get going. So I think it's very important to, establish our dominance, per se, on the line, both sides of the ball, not just defense.
Coach said if you guys didn't have a smile on your face walking into that stadium, you're playing the wrong sport. So when you think of walking in on Saturday, what comes to your mind?
I'm all smiles. All smiles. It's a game that, everybody dreams about playing, playing the defending national champion. So, I'm excited to play, for all those people and, just represent Utah State right.
When you look at Auburn, what concerns you the most? I mean, they got the new quarterback, but they have two great running backs and a slew of new wide receivers. What do you think of them?
Nothing concerns me,
Nothing.
but, I feel like they do have, solid running backs that are very productive, as far as the quarterback situation. I feel like they're going to pick the right guy to run their offense, so he's going to be prepared just like our quarterback's going to be prepared. So, they're champions for a reason, so we just got to, prove ourselves.
What are your thoughts on the 3-4? And obviously you must like your role in that.
I love the 3-4, just being able to move around, different positions. The offense can't really, pinpoint me being in one spot because I can be in several different spots. So, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying the 3-4.
Bobby, where you've gotten all this preseason attention, it seems like that teams are going to be keying on you. How does that affect your game and how you approach the game?
It doesn't affect it at all. I feel like teams were keen on me last year. They're just going to do a little bit more this year. So, I'm open and ready for the challenge, to figure out what they're trying to do to stop me. But, like Coach Chase said, we just going to have fun with it.
If teams scheme on you and try to take you out schematically, do you think that you have a more able cast around you this year to kind of make plays and take advantage of that?
Yeah, I definitely feel the players around me, make plays. If teams are trying to stop me from making tackles, which I highly doubt is going to happen, but if they do that, I feel like everybody around me from the safety spot to the D lineman spot can make plays because, we got playmakers.
In your opinion, is this the best D-line you've had in front of you in your year?
Yes.
What makes them so good?
Just their, I don't really know how to explain it, but, just that feel. They just excited to play the game. They want to be on the other side of the ball just like I do. They just come with this passion that I don't feel like all the D linemen had, previous years. So I'm excited to play with them.
Looking on film, does Auburn seem as much of a daunting task as Oklahoma did last year? Can you compare the two teams and what you saw on film?
I don't feel you can really compare the two teams because I feel like Auburn runs a lot more trick plays than Oklahoma did. But, they're both a good program. And, they both bring certain things to the table, and I'm just ready to play them.
I think Auburn's going to be a little bit more wary of you guys considering what you guys did against Oklahoma last year?
I'm pretty sure they'll be a little bit more wary, but I feel like we're better than we were at Oklahoma. So, we're just going to come and give it our all and see what happens.
Bobby, this is the last opportunity you and the rest of the seniors have to beat a BCS team. What does that do for you guys in terms of motivation in this game?
I definitely feel like it motivates me personally. This is my last year. I'm trying to go out on the right note. But as far as the team, we should want to beat whoever that's on our schedule, no matter if they're a BCS team or they, Division 12. So we come out with the same mindset for each team.
There are newer players in the secondary that we haven't seen. You practice with them every day. Who are we going to be impressed with?
Who are you guys going to be impressed with? I think Jamani, you guys will be impressed with him. Terrence is going to see a lot of action. You know, the usuals, Walton and Alfred are going to come, and, you know, I'm just excited to play with those guys.
How much has Nevin Lawson improved since last year?
Man, Nevin has stepped up big time. You know, it's just the way he carries himself, you know, his focus is just, it's incredible. I told him the other day at practice that, you know, I appreciate the way he covers the receivers, because, you know, sometimes I've rarely seen people catch balls on him this camp. So, you know, I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year.
Is he your new shutdown corner?
Is he the new shutdown corner? I wouldn't say that much because we haven't played, you know, any games yet. But you know, ask me 5 games into the season, I'm pretty sure I'll say yes.
Obviously, you know, camp was a bit different for us, a little bit of a grind, as it is every year. But I think overall it was very good, very beneficial for us. I believe we improved as a team, all 3 stages of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. And, you know, hopefully that can carry over into the season. So, I'll take some questions.
You and Michael Dyer, how much of a comparison do you think that you have to him?
You know, I don't know. I have not watched Michael very much as far as in the film room. I mean, I've seen a few Auburn games when they were on TV sometime last year. He's a good running back from what I've seen, but I don't necessarily really compare myself in a lot of ways to any other running backs. I just kind of, you know, try to be the best player that I can be, you know, myself. So.
Talk about Auburn's defense and kind of assess them and how you guys are going to be able to move the ball against them.
You know, they run. They're not very aggressive, but you know, they run a very disciplined kind of defense, and they have very disciplined kind of players. And you know, most of the time, if a player is supposed to be in a certain gap, you know, 9 times out of 10 he's in that gap doing his job. So as an offense, we have to make sure that we're very assignment sound with what we're doing offensively to be able to counteract that and have some success.
With that agility and the speed they have on their defensive line, and you and I talked about pass blocking before, is this an opportunity for you to really show what you can do in terms of 3rd down situations?
Well, you know, I believe it's an opportunity for all of us skilled players to, you know, kind of make plays in key 3rd down situations. I mean, that's what we're here for. You know, to make those key 3rd down plays. You know, whether it's 3rd and short, you know, 3rd and 2 or something like that, or whether it's, you know, 3rd and 8 and I need to go out on a swing route, or they put me in the slot or anything like that. You know, when the opportunity presents itself, it's my job to make a play in those situations. So, you know, we'll see if we can do that.
Did you accomplish what you wanted to do personally this fall camp?
Yeah, you know, I overall, you know, I wanted to, you know, improve as a player. But what I meant by that is, you know, coming back obviously from the injury, I wanted to be able to do some things a bit more physically as far as you know, full scrimmaging and tackling and hitting and blocking and cut blocking and just all the game situation type things in practice I wanted to be able to do and accomplish and do well to kind of prepare myself for the season. And I believe, you know, Coach Tuyaki, who's my position coach, you know, and Coach Ballin, who's the offensive coordinator, obviously, you know, was able to put me in those situations, and Coach Anderson was able to let me go and play in those scrimmages and, you know, go full go without any, you know, holding me back or anything like that. And I was able to accomplish a little bit more confidence in my ability to play.
A lot of this season rides on this offensive line. Tell us about it.
I can say, you know, they've definitely improved. And not necessarily just physically. You know, yeah, they're bigger, but I think, you know, mentally, their mindset as an offensive line is much, much better. They're much more confident. You know, in the summer, we get, you know, a period there where it's about 5 weeks in May, probably a week in June, and I think all of the offensive line were back after the first 2 weeks. After the first 2 weeks of that of that break because they wanted to get better. You know, that was their whole, all of their main focus was to get better as an offensive line. And so I believe that they can be dominant and really help this team win a lot of football games.
What do you guys have to do to run the ball successfully against all this defense?
Well, we just have to, be sound in our assignments and technique. It all starts with the offensive line, and they know that, they have to play with great technique, especially against a team like Auburn, who, has a lot of speed on the defensive line, very big and talented at the defensive line and linebacker spot. So we have to be, very sound in not only our technique but also in our assignments. If we're supposed to get a certain linebacker or, combo up to a Sam or something like that, we have to be able to be on point and do that. If there's a blitz and we know there's a blitz coming, the offensive line and myself, because I'm a part of that protection, have to be sound in knowing exactly who we're supposed to block and who's coming. So that comes from what studying and watching film, and I think we'll be all right.
I assume you've had this moment this Saturday on your mind for about 2 years now because you really about playing. What are you most looking forward to?
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of different things. I think mostly, though, just the the excitement, that butterfly kind of feeling you get before the game, and just the whole atmosphere, the crowd, and all of that. When you step onto the field and get an opportunity to play, that's kind of what I miss the most. Is just playing with that crowd, whether they're booing you or cheering. We're gonna get a lot of boos, maybe a little trash talk here and there, but that's what makes sports a lot of fun, because you can either make them be quiet or do stuff to continue to make them talk. So we'll see which way it goes.
What should our expectations be of these quarterbacks?
These quarterbacks?
Our quarterbacks.
Our quarterbacks. Whoever the starter will be, and I wish I knew. If I knew, I'd probably tell you guys, but I don't. But my expectation of them is just, first of all, number one, honestly, my expectation is for one of them to show us who's the starter going to be. Because obviously up to this point, camp is over, and they've been pretty even. And what I expect out of those two is we're going to do everything that we can to win the football game. But one of them has to show that, hey, I'm going to be the guy to manage these games and help us win more than the other guy. So whichever one quarterback has that mindset and does that remains to be seen. But that's what I expect out of those two.
Do you expect both of those guys to play? And as a teammate, how do you feel about that dynamic? I know most football players would rather play with one guy.
Yeah. I believe in the coaching staff, and if they believe that for this game a 2-quarterback system will help us win, then I'm all for it. I'll buy in, and we'll see how it goes. I think it can help us. I mean, you got a guy in Adam Kennedy who's obviously more of a pocket passer kind of guy, wants to sit back and read coverages, and Chucky does a little bit of the same, but he can also do some dynamic things with his feet. And, that may be able to throw Auburn off a little bit there, kind of subbing in and out quarterbacks. But, we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season. Hopefully it won't have to be that the whole season. But if that's what helps us offensively, then we'll definitely use it throughout the season.